Everyone in the village of Umuahia knew one thing for certain. You do not go into the forest on Ujo Ojo. It was a rule older than anyone could remember, passed down through generations like a sacred chant. On that day, the forest was said to belong to something else, something no one dared name out loud. The elders said the wind refused to blow that way, birds avoided the trees, hunters stayed home, children were warned never to stray too close. Some said goats disappeared on Ujo Ojo, others whispered of travelers who stepped into the woods and were never seen again. A few claimed the trees could sing softly, sorrowfully, like they remembered everything that had ever been lost inside them. But Mama Ife didn't believe in such things, or rather, she refused to. She was a hard, bitter woman, her face carved deep with lines that seemed to grow sharper each year. Life had made her cold, and she carried her bitterness like armor. When Ada's parents died in a car crash, Mama Ife did not shed a single tear. She wore black, as was expected, and sat through the funeral with a blank face. But everyone in the village knew she was more interested in what Ada's parents had left behind: their land, their money, and their beautiful house at the edge of the village. Ada was only 10 when her world shattered. Her parents' laughter, their gentle voices, their warm arms, all of it was gone in an instant. After the burial, the elders decided that Mama Ife, being the only living relative nearby, should take the girl in. They believed she would be cared for, but from the first night, it was clear Ada was not going to be loved, only used. Mama Ife turned the child into a servant. She made her cook and clean, wash clothes, and fetch water. Ada slept on a thin mat by the door, while Mama Ife kept the bed and the blankets for herself. The house, once filled with joy and music, now echoed with silence. Ada rarely smiled. She became quiet, careful, like someone trying not to take up too much space. As the years passed, people began to notice. They spoke in hushed tones about how Ada was the true heir to the house and land. They remembered how much her parents had loved her. The whispers grew louder, and Mama Ife grew more anxious. The villagers might one day decide to do something. She couldn't risk losing everything she had taken, so she made a wicked plan. One morning, just before the sun crept over the hills, Mama Ife woke Ada roughly from sleep. The girl rubbed her eyes and sat up, shivering in the cold. Mama Ife handed her a basket and an old cutlass, rusted at the edges. "Go into the forest," she said. "Bring back firewood, enough to last 2 weeks." Ada blinked. "But today is Ujo Ojo," she said softly. "No one goes to the forest today." Mama Ife's eyes narrowed. "Are you questioning me?" "No, Ma," Ada replied quickly, dropping her gaze. "Then go." So Ada went. She tied her scarf around her head, picked up the basket, and walked toward the forest. Her feet were heavy, her chest was tight. Every step felt like walking into a place she was not meant to enter. The forest was different that morning. Though the sky outside was bright, the woods felt dim and shadowed. No birds sang, the air was thick and still, as though it was holding its breath. Ada hesitated at the edge, then stepped inside. The trees towered over her like quiet sentinels, watching. She could feel something ancient pressing around her. Still, she moved forward. To disobey Mama Ife was worse than fear. She found a small clearing and bent to gather sticks. As she walked, a sound floated through the trees. A song. At first, she thought it was the wind, but then she heard it more clearly. A girl's voice, smooth and sorrowful, singing words Ada didn't understand. The melody wrapped around her, warm and haunting. Drawn to it, Ada followed the voice deeper into the woods until she came to a stream. There, sitting on a rock with her feet in the water, was a girl. She looked to be around Ada's age, but there was something strange about her, something timeless in her eyes. She smiled gently. "You're not supposed to be here," the girl said. "I didn't want to come," Ada replied. "My grandmother made me." The girl looked down, her voice tinged with sadness. "She knows what today is." Ada nodded slowly. She didn't care. The girl patted the space beside her. "Sit. The forest listens on this day." So Ada sat, and as the girl began to sing again, Ada began to cry. At first, it was just a tale. Then the dam broke. She wept for her parents, for her lost childhood, for all the pain she had kept locked inside. The girl, whose name was Enma, held her hand and didn't speak. She didn't need to. "You're not the first child to come here," Enma said, when Ada's sobs had faded. "But maybe you're the first one the forest will send back." Back in the village, Mama Ife began to pace. Hours had passed. Ada had not returned. Her plan had been simple: send the girl into the forest on Ujo Ojo and let the forest take her. But now, the silence felt too long. People had seen Ada go. Some had started whispering again. One woman even said aloud, "That girl had no business in the forest today. Who would send her in there? Unless they meant her harm." By afternoon, Mama Ife could no longer sit still. She tied her wrapper tightly, muttering to herself, and walked toward the forest. A few villagers saw her go. None followed. They only watched and waited. She never came back. As the sun began to fall behind the trees, Ada stood up. The forest had changed. The air felt light. Birds chirped again, and the trees swayed gently as if nodding to her. Enma squeezed her hand. "You can go now," she said. "The forest has heard you." "Will I see you again?" Ada asked. Enma smiled, but didn't answer. Ada walked back to the village, unsure of what waited for her. She braced herself for shouting, for slaps, for punishment. But when she arrived, the house was quiet. Mama Ife was gone. The villagers came asking questions. They said they had seen Mama Ife enter the forest. A search was made. Drums were beaten. Names were called into the trees, but there was no answer. Days later, the elders opened the house and found what had long been hidden. Documents with Ada's name on them. Proof of ownership. Her parents' will. Everything was returned to her, but Ada didn't keep it all for herself. She reopened the house to children who had no one to care for them. She used the land to grow food, and she brought in teachers and helpers. Laughter filled the rooms again, and music returned to the hallways. The house, once cold and quiet, bloomed with warmth. Sometimes in the evenings, Ada would walk to the edge of the forest. She would sit and listen. And on certain days, when the wind was just right, she would hear a song, soft and sweet, floating through the trees. She never saw Enma again, but she never forgot her. The forest had taken what it wanted and given Ada a second chance